Okay, so we're told that today is World No Tobacco Day. And the question is, have you ever heard of anything like that? Do you know whether some of the stuff that you consume actually has tobacco in it? Do you know whether it's good for you? Are you taking too much of it? Are you taking too little of it? Do you know the health implications? Do you know the people who are in that supply chain, the people who are responsible for it? Do you know that there's actually an authority that is responsible for churning out these things, making us aware of what to consume, what not to consume? And so today we're going to be delving into all of these conversations, and we have in studio Ms. Jemima Odonko. She's head of tobacco and tobacco products department at the FDA. That's the Food and Drugs Authority. And then we have Dr. Ya Achia Boateng. She's a physician specialist at the International Maritime Hospital. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Yeah, I wish we could do girls' concert, but
I just wanted to say, don't introduce me.
I was about to mention your name. Yeah, so he's a man of many man wearing shirts of many colors.
Don't do that to me.
Wait, is it your father who gave it to you? Is your mother? Because we want to know.
You don't know that my middle name is Josephine.
Anyway, so World No Tobacco Day.
Yes. And I'm excited about the theme, actually.
Yeah.
Unmasking the appeal, exposing industry tactics on tobacco and nicotine products.
Yes.
My question is, are you ready for the conversation or not?
I know, right? But a lot of people didn't even know that tobacco, or like there's World No Tobacco Day. People don't even know that some of the things that they consume has these things. So when they see tobacco, they thought, okay, probably we saw it in social studies sometime, and that's it.
Actually, for me, tobacco was cigar. Growing
right?
The cigar.
Right.
Tobacco for me. Some people too is the sniff.
The sniffing, right.
Exactly.
But I think that it goes beyond all of that.
Right.
For it to have a full department, tobacco and tobacco products.
Right.
World No Tobacco Day.
Exactly.
Well, I would want you to talk to us about it, why we have a special day for these things, and why that's theme even for this year.
Thank you so very much.
You're
and
welcome.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. So World No Tobacco Day, what is it and why World No Tobacco Day? So World No Tobacco Day is a day set aside by the WHO to commemorate a day to remind the population on the need for us to stay away from the use of tobacco. Because tobacco, research has shown that there's no benefits in the use of tobacco.
Not at all?
Not at all. The use of tobacco is deadly, and it has no benefits to human systems. So you ask yourself, why then do we still have tobacco?
Oh, why
in the
does it even
system?
exist if it's
Why,
not good for us?
Yes, tobacco is God's creation, but I'm not sure it was created for human purpose, for human consumption. However, it is not illicit. It is allowed. It can be used. And when it comes to Ghana, there are regulations when it comes to the use of these products.
Right.
You were mentioning that tobacco, and he was saying that when he was growing, he thought tobacco was just cigar. But if you look at the definition of tobacco in the Public Health Act, before I continue, our mandate to even regulate tobacco is found in the Public Health Act 2012 at 851 under Part 6. FDA's regulation our mandate is under Part 6, 7, and 8. The whole of Part 6 is on tobacco control measures. So everything about tobacco and its related issues is handled by the Food and Drugs Authority. So if I would define what tobacco per the law is, so tobacco is any product made wholly from tobacco or partly from tobacco. So if we want to give examples of what tobacco is, the cigar that is mentioned is tobacco, cigarette is tobacco. I think Asra is also tobacco.
What's Asra?
Asra is the
Snuff.
local snuff.
Oh, okay.
Then, and also shisha. Shisha is a tobacco
Tell
product.
the Gen Zs.
Yes, shisha is a tobacco product. Yes.
Right?
And when it comes to, yes, we find things like E6 vapes, then electronic cigarettes and others. They are not defined or they are not captured as tobacco products because basically most of these products are synthetically produced. They don't have any natural composition of tobacco in there. However, most of them do contain nicotine, the highly addictive component in the tobacco that people get hooked onto it and they are unable to stop the use of tobacco.
Okay.
So basically the World Health Organization set aside 31st of every year to remind us on the need for us to stay away from the use of tobacco in any form and to also remind us that if you don't use and you get yourself exposed or find yourself within a space where active smoking is occurring, you also equally at danger, just like the active smoker or the user. Yes, please.
I see. So our theme this year, bright products, dark intentions, unmasking the appeal.
Yes, that's a very wonderful thing. And this is because the tobacco industry, realizing that people are moving away from the traditional tobacco use because of the harsh effects it has on the human system, they are trying to project these other innovative forms as a safer forms of the tobacco. However, research has shown that there is nothing like a safe form or reduced harm when it comes to tobacco. And the dangerous thing about these electronic forms is that aside the nicotine, there are other components in there which we don't know the effects. We don't know the composition. We don't know how bad or what the effect is on the human system when it is consumed. We don't have enough data to support what these compositions or what is in these products. So it is not advised. And here in Ghana, these products are banned. They are not supposed to be in the country. They're not supposed to be on our markets. They are illicit, unlike the tobacco and tobacco products, which the system allows. And even with that, it has to go through the right procedure before you can have it on the market or to make it available for people to buy. So you have to come to the FDA, request to register, you go through the registration process, and then if it's approved, you can have it on the market. It doesn't make it safe though. Yeah.
Well, I'm still wondering why we agree there's a full regulation to it, if the thing is not good and all of that. But before we get into that, fact that we've seen lots of people selling drugs. What was that last week? What, Koku, was it this week where we saw the news, somebody was selling these drugs, red and all of that, and then had a gun on it, and he was...
Exactly.
It was arrested. It was just a woman, right? And all these things that have come up. And I mean, I'm sure along the line would find out what your work relation is with the ports and all of these, porous borders that allow these things in. But Doc, let's get to the health part of it. We are told that this thing, however you look at it, small, big, smoking, smelling it, or anything at all is not good. I want you to run us through the health hazards when it comes to tobacco.
Okay. So as Jemima rightly said, tobacco does not have any benefits to the human. And there are two main pathways through which the harm occurs.
Okay.
So one pathway is the nicotine, and that's the addictive substance in the tobacco. So it's habit forming, you become dependent on it, and then you're always wanting it. So that's one aspect. And this nicotine has effects on all systems in the body, so I'll run us through that. And then there are also other parts of the tobacco. So there are these like harmful toxic substances or chemicals that are also found in the tobacco. And right from cultivation of the tobacco plant can absorb like cadmium, lead from the soil, so it's in the plant. And then during the processing of the tobacco, they are curing it, they are drying it, they are yellowing it, they are adding, the new compounds are being formed. So we have these tobacco-specific nitrosamines. These are toxic to the body. They are carcinogenic, and the carcinogenic means like cancer-causing agents. So these tobacco-specific nitrosamines are carcinogenic to the body. And then the most harmful bit is when the tobacco is being burned. And in burning, that is the smoking aspect. When it's being smoked, a whole lot more of these toxic chemicals are being produced. And some of these toxic chemicals are formaldehyde. If you've heard of formaldehyde, when you go to the mortuary and you take a dead body to the mortuary, they have to go through a process for preservation so that the body doesn't rot. The chemical that they use to preserve the body, that is formaldehyde. So imagine this chemical in your body. It's a carcinogen. So wherever...
Formaldehyde.
Yes.
Formalin.
That's it.
From the smoking, yes. Yeah.
Kwaku, you didn't know before. You see when I said formalin?
Okay. So.
Someone who just knew cigars, tobacco, you think
I know, right? Formalin.
You think highly of me, Pao.
So, yeah. So imagine you're having this toxic chemical in your body. And the way these toxins work is anywhere they get deposited in the body, they can cause DNA mutations, and then cancer cells start forming. So wherever you find it gets into contact, cancer can form there. So right from the time you put it to your lips, so your lips, your mouth, your tongue, your salivary glands, your tonsils, your throat, and then it can travel to other parts of the body. When it goes into your lungs, so the lungs is where gas exchange occurs.
Right.
Ideally, oxygen is what should be going into the airway. So when oxygen goes into the airway, it gets into the lung tissue. At the lung tissue, that is where oxygen moves into the blood system. So if it's traveling, if all these toxins are in the blood or have gone into the airway, now they're also getting access into your blood system. And the blood system runs throughout the body. So anywhere blood is flowing, the toxins are going there, and then cancer can form there. There are so many other chemicals. There are about more than 1,000 harmful chemicals in tobacco. And then more than 100 are toxic. About 70 are carcinogenic. So imagine one puff, 70 things are forming. There's benzene, there's acrolein, there's furan. There are so many, arsenic, carbon monoxide, exhaust. Yes, that's carbon monoxide. All this is in you when you are smoking. It's being formed in you. You're inhaling. It's going into your bloodstream. Hydrogen cyanide. So there are a whole lot of chemicals, and these chemicals will affect your heart. They can reduce the effect of your immune system, which is supposed to protect you from cancers and stuff. They damage your airways, they damage your lungs. So you end up with all these conditions, and the main thing is they are carcinogenic. So that's one pathway. Then we come to the nicotine. So when you're putting the cigarette to your mouth, when you're putting the hookah to your mouth, think about all these things that are happening in the body. You may not see it right now, but the effects will show later. It's like any disease. The initial stages, you may not have any symptoms. But by the time you have symptoms, that means it's advanced. It's the same thing with tobacco products. So moving on to nicotine. So nicotine is that addictive substance in the tobacco. And like I said earlier, it affects all systems in the body. So let's take our cardiovascular system. So the cardiovascular is our heart, our blood vessels, the circulatory system, basically. And it's a stimulant. So it stimulates what we call the sympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
And this makes you, like what we call the fight or flight system. I don't know if you've heard of that. So when you're about to engage in an activity, so the body takes it like a stress period, and then it releases these stress hormones, epinephrine, adrenaline, noradrenaline, into the cortisol, into the bloodstream. And what these hormones do are they constrict the blood vessels, they increase your heart rate, they increase your blood pressure. So right then that's hypertension. Hypertension is increased blood pressure. So if you're always smoking and your body is in this stimulated form, that means your blood pressure is always up. And when your blood pressure is up, that's where your risk for stroke increases, your risk for heart disease increases. And then this nicotine also increases formation of blood clots in the body.
Okay.
So you'll be getting clots. So it can cause heart attacks. It can cause a form of stroke, what we call the infarctive stroke. It can cause embolisms. So it is not something we should be ingesting.
Right.
In earlier times, tobacco was, the medicinal properties, it was being used as an antiseptic. if you know what an antiseptic is, it's not supposed to be ingested. It's supposed to use on the external surfaces or of the body. And imagine you're drinking an antiseptic. So that's one aspect. So that's just the cardiovascular system. Then we come to the respiratory system. So that's your breathing.
My God.
People need to know what one puff can do. So people really need to know. So when we talk about the respiratory system, so that's your airways, that's your lungs. And what it does is it damages lung tissue. Nicotine can damage the lung tissue. It also serves as an airway irritant. And then it leads to what we call chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. So you have these irreversible lung damage that you can't do anything about. Most of the time you have to be on steroids. Steroids also come with their complications.
Right.
Weight gain, hypertension, and all sorts of other things. So you are constantly coughing. If you've had even a cough for 1 week, you know how uncomfortable it is. And then imagine every day, any little thing, coughing all over. So that is one thing. That's also another way nicotine affects the system. Then when we talk about, we can talk about the reproductive system. So both in men and in women, usually when we talk reproductive, everybody's mind is going to the woman.
Yeah.
But nicotine also directly affects the sperm of men. So yes, so reduce your sperm count, bring up abnormalities in the sperm. So instead of it having a round head, the sperm head is triangular or it's something, and then it reduces. So you have fertility issues in the male. It also causes fertility issues in the women. So when we're out there and we're smoking the shisha and we're
chilling.
Know what is happening in future. Later you get married and you're having difficulty having children. It could be from the smoking that you were doing. And then that aside, it increases your risk, your pregnancy risk. Risk in pregnancy. You can have preterm birth.
Okay.
Also low birth weight. When you give birth and the babies are so small, they don't reach their 2.5 kilos and they're like 1 kilo and you now have to be in the incubator and you're in hospital all the time. All these tiny, tiny babies. And then also, after you've delivered your baby, there are effects on the baby.
I would love us to actually get to that. But wait, let's digest all of these things that you have.
I know it's a lot.
What?
And we're not even done.
That's just one puff.
Yep.
About 1 million negative things are happening to you.
Sammy?
Koku, don't you ever?
Yeah,
Do you get it?
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I want to unpack it from this angle. So that's why I'm going to be asking some questions. Some of them are trick questions, but you can answer them freely. Is there anything you can point out, of course, after speaking about antiseptic, the issue of tobacco and nicotine, what we use it for, industrial use of these things? I want to know, is there any? Or maybe that question should go to you. Is there any
No, so far
nicotine?
we have there's nothing documented
Nothing at all.
on that, no.
Even industrial use?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
So why do we have farms of these things?
Okay. Now,
It's a stimulant. So
right. Okay. Now, also, this to you before I come to you, because the questions are coming to you. Are you ready for it? Because I warned you earlier.
No
That's why
problem.
we're here.
The issue about smoking, and I've heard this. I know of a doctor. He's died, though. I don't know what he died of, right? He was quite old before dying. Sure, that man should be around the 60s, if not 70.
Okay.
But people are able to point to doctors who are chain smokers and say they have lived long. And when they go, what we are told is that they go and wash their system. They have something, they wash their system. And I've seen art, especially in Nigeria as well, where and they advertise this in the skits, where they say you can smoke or whatever, but they put an ad out there and say, when you take this, it washes the system. I want to know. Balance this too. Is it possible that you have something that washes the system, especially after smoking?
Not that I know of. I haven't heard of any compound or
Not
a
even a medical-
concoction
okay.
that will wash your system. The only thing is, smoking doesn't kill you instantly. It doesn't it's not like an overdose thing that I smoked too much today, so I'm going to die. Like maybe when you're taking a poison or something. No, but the effect builds up gradually over time.
Right.
Things will happen at the cellular level before tissue, then organ, then the effects start coming. So it's not something that is going to kill you like right away.
I see.
But with time, definitely.
You adopted your separate theme for Ghana. Is that what you did? Is there a separate theme?
No, it's the
for Ghana?
same thing we are working on.
Because I didn't hear exposing the other side in yours. What he
Yeah,
she read.
bright products. Bad
okay, that is the
intentions.
hashtag for the.
Hashtag.
Yes.
So it's the same
So
thing.
it's the same thing.
So you referred to the Public Health Act 2012. Is that it?
Exactly.
851.
851.
So, owing from what you had said, right, and for which we clearly do not have a need for tobacco and nicotine, I'm quoting 116, which is, of course, the restriction on importation and manufacture.
Okay.
The minister may, by executive instrument, prohibit the importation, manufacture, exportation, advertisement of sale of a drug, herbal medicine, cosmetic, medical device, or household chemical substance as specified in the instrument. Why has FDA, no matter how draconian you think it could be, if there's no use and need for it, what are we waiting for?
So
Why has
thank
FDA
you.
not
Not
advised?
advised the minister. You see, as regulators, we were per the law, and that is where our mandate is. So if the public, we have a lot of CSO advocating for some of these bans. And what we encourage is we need a lot of data. Locally, we don't have enough data to support our claims. We have a lot of data to support
Which claim?
why the need for Ghana to ban the importation or the use of tobacco outright within the country. Even though we have enough data globally to support the lethal effect of tobacco use on the human system, before you can advise the minister on anything, you should have good enough data, locally generated data to support your claim. So yes, we have a lot of information about the lethal effect of tobacco, but locally, we don't have enough data to say, okay, based on this, we have maybe 1,000 people die from tobacco use, or the effects of tobacco on children is this. So based on that, we advise that it is right, it would be the right thing to do to outlaw the use of tobacco in Ghana. We are still pushing, and as regulators, as I said, if it is banned, we will regulate it as such. So far as it is licit, the requirements are so clear on its use. If you look at the Public Health Act, it bans smoking in public. So you cannot be within a space where other people are and then smoke freely. The law disallows it. Even in pubs, where people feel it is a free space to smoke, it is not even allowed. Yes, you cannot. The law disallows, because the pub is a public space. You are not to smoke within the pub. You are not to smoke in a restaurant, wherever we have people congregating. You are not to smoke in there. If a facility owner allows smoking, it is up to the owner to designate a place,
A smoking area.
especially for that. That's the DSA.
Even that,
Yes.
because I'm worried now. So you say if it is only when there's research and data to show that
To support, and that would, yes.
and it only has to come from someone else, and the FDA cannot even generate a data that.
our
There's no
mandate-
research desk.
We have research desks, but our mandate as a regulator is to ensure that the measures as stipulated in the Act is being adhered to by the public.
We cannot advise the minister.
We can.
Okay.
And that's why I said based on evidence that we have from the system. So we work with a lot of CSOs, we work with the medical team. Yes, we work with the universities, and then they are doing a lot of work when it comes to the use of these tobacco and tobacco products.
My last round of questions before Biadela comes in is because I'm worried. Look, the FDA closes at 5 p.m. Like it or yes, you don't work beyond 6 p.m.
If you go to Tema, we are there all through 24 hours. The borders, the ports, we work all through
So just
night.
Tema.
Tema, where we have the ports, the entry points,
Exactly.
we are there 24 hours.
All right. So who would have to implement or enforce these no smoking thing? Is it Assembly or FDA?
It is the authority, the FDA.
Okay.
Yes.
So if the FDA only works at the port, and of course, when we come to you as well,
When it comes to monitoring to ensure compliance, we have our team going out almost all through the day. At night, we have a team going out to make sure that people are actually complying. We cannot be everywhere.
do you have the
all
personnel
the
to be everywhere all the time? You see, that's the danger
Yeah.
to say that people who even dedicate smoking areas, the enforcement of these laws, and we go out there. I go out to see people are smoking, and you speak to them, and they are apprehensive. I mean, they want to beat you up and all of that, because you cannot have, if you like, the personnel. You cannot supervise through and through, and people are still left to the mercy of these things. That is why I would want to say that it does not even, if there are research everywhere, I mean, we take researches, we quote, even the ministers quote researches that are done from the United States of America to back claims. So why are we supposed to now, it's only when data is driving.
You see, if you look globally, nowhere in the world has any country banned the use of tobacco.
Should I show you countries where a lot of things have been banned, where elsewhere it's not been banned?
But not tobacco.
No, I'm saying because if the problem is local,
yes,
you have to engineer local means to be able to deal with it.
But remember, we are global. We are not all alone here in Ghana. This is a global village, so we cannot. Yes, yeah. That is why I would have wished tobacco is a no in Ghana. That would have made work very much easier for us. But here we find ourselves. So as regulators, we are doing whatever we can to ensure that non-smokers do not get themselves exposed. The vulnerable children, pregnant women, people with conditions do not get themselves exposed to some of these things. So we carry out a lot of public education. We go to schools, we go to market centers, we go to transport seminars, we visit churches, and then you may ask, why churches? But maybe you may not have smokers within the church environment. However, but you have parents in there who have kids who are hooked onto some of these things. Doc just mentioned that a puff of cigarette or a puff of whatever type of tobacco contains a whole lot of toxic chemicals. But let me also say to you that we find most of our young ones now hooked onto shisha. And research has also shown that if you smoke shisha for close to an hour, it's like smoking between 100 sticks to 200 sticks of cigarette at a go. So you can imagine, if just a puff can introduce a whole lot of toxicants into your system, how much more hooking yourself onto shisha for close to an hour? And that is a big issue.
Milady,
most people.
No further questions.
Yes.
Well, I remember we had a conversation sometime with you.
Exactly.
We're talking about this no smoking policy.
Exactly.
And I was asking how much work we have done, because some of us get to maybe pass through circle in some places. We hear that people are not supposed to smoke in public places. Where did we find the Lucifer village?
It's a circle.
Thank you very much. All the crazy happens there. And there are certain hot spots for these things. I don't know where you look for your data, but I can tell you that there are certain places that I can point you to find data. My question is, if we know this much, shisha is not good, young people are hooked on it, and all of that. Shisha didn't generate from cloves and wintia, which is locally produced, right? These are stuff that we brought in.
Exactly.
Where are we getting it wrong? At what point? Because you see, young people started hooking on shisha because, probably I smoked it when I went to the UK or when I went to the US. It was really cool, So
it's a borrowed culture.
That's my English. And we just like fashion and every other thing, we've just pounced on it. Excellent. And we are now doing public education. And how many people are listening to us right now? How many children are listening to us right now? Most of the people are in lectures. They are in universities. Are you getting it? And how many parents have that much grip on their children? So why do we nurse the thing to get to that point before we want to kill it?
Exactly. So, as I said, we do carry out a lot of public education. We go to schools, they're both primary, JHS, secondary, and recently we've visited quite a number of the tertiary institutions, and it's not just in Accra. If you go all through the countries where we have our offices, we have officers on the field. Now,
While
letting
working.
the public, yes, on the need for us not to engage in any of these things. With the issue of shisha influx on our markets, most of these products do come in through unapproved routes. Sometimes you get to the markets and it's like they're out there.
Tell me
did
some
they
of
get
the
there?
unapproved routes, because you tell me that some of your
Some-
people work at the ports
Yes, they are
and
the
the
ports,
borders.
but most of these consignments comes in, and maybe the person bringing in the consignment may declare that this is rice. You are not able to. It's a huge cargo. You are not able to go deep into the content of the whole system. Some of them may have these things hidden in there.
So
that is why
we don't have the systems to check it. Is that it?
we do. Probably the systems are not so robust, because as to how these things gets onto our market, it's quite disturbing. Some may even have them in their personal luggages, and then that would come into the market without you noticing. So what we do constantly, or most of the time, is also to get our stuff on the market and then to do this surveillance, and then we carry out quite a number of sweeps to clear the market with some of these stuff.
So you go with the
However, we
police
go with
and
the
all that.
police, and then yes, you go to the then the next time you get another information that you have another group also indulging in the same thing. So I think probably the way out, if some of these products are maybe taken out of the system, like
Yeah,
ban,
banned.
that would help. But shisha, as I said, is a tobacco product. So just like tobacco, we regulate it. So before you can put it out there to sell to the public, it has to come to FDA for it to be registered. And there are requirements for the registration. And that is where, yes.
Wow. Register the pain.
It's not easy.
Register the hurt. Register
the
the broken future. That's amazing. Anyway, but I want us to get, you started with fertility. I want us to, by way of education, because so Koku and I go to the pub, which we've never been, we'll never go. And then maybe we're smoking, we get married, because we see lots of preterm babies and all these deformities lately, and then we run to church.
Yep.
Right? Now, I want you to educate us, we the young ones who are shishaing our lives away. What should we expect, or what are we what future are we hoping to have when it comes to reproduction? Talk to the women, please.
Okay. So the shisha has become like a fad, like a fashion kind of thing. Everybody is hooked onto it. When you go out and you don't do it, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, cake.
You are a cake, yes. I see a lot of young adults in the clinic coming through to do medicals, that kind of stuff. And whenever you take their social history, do you smoke? Then they'll look at you funny. Oh, shisha, shisha, oh, shisha. And it's so common. It's so common. But it's doing a lot of harm because it's a tobacco product. And once it's a tobacco product, it has all these harmful toxic substances we're talking about. And these go into the body and then do damage to our reproductive system. It's harming the male, it's harming the female. So the ladies, when we're out there and we are smoking and we think, when it's time to have the babies and your mothers are on you and you've been married, it's 2 years, 3 years, and the child is not coming and the pressure, then you forget what you did in the past that could have led to this. So if this is not advice enough, I'm not sure how we can get them to. So even in the clinic, like I talk to them, it's tobacco, it's not a good product, it's not, you talk to them. So any avenue available, we use it to educate them. We're here today, we're educating the public and all. But for women, fertility is something you cannot live without, unless it's a choice you don't want to have children. But even if you don't get married and you age, now the end thing is, instead of it should be marriage, children, now it's like, even if you're aging, just have your child. And you see, at that point, you'll be having difficulty. Then you're spending millions, and now you're going to look into IVF, and you're going to look into this, and you're going to do that. And when it affects the male sperm too, it's also an IVF thing that would have to come in, and that is money.
Right.
Yes, because if the sperm aren't viable, so he will ejaculate and all, but there's no viable sperm to go and fertilize the egg. So eventually they would have to take the sperm, look through, try and boost it with some medications, which is also expensive. Then now get a sample, then select some viable ones, and then try and fertilize the egg outside, and then now come and implant into the woman. All this is money. So the shisha that you are smoking is going to cost you millions down the line. IVF is not cheap. It's not on insurance. Even when you travel abroad, you don't get it on insurance unless you fit into certain categories. So this is like, you are harming your future. And then when you have difficulty having, even after you've been able to have the children also have, the babies are also affected. So when you have, so preterm birth, you can have stillbirths, all that. So that one, the baby doesn't even survive. Then those that will come preterm babies come with a whole lot. Everything is underdeveloped. Their lungs, their heart, their organs, everything is underdeveloped. So they need that kind of help. So that's why they're in the incubator. We're trying to keep their temperature at normal because they can't regulate it themselves. They can't breathe, so they're on oxygen. They can't breathe well themselves. They're on oxygen. Their digestion is a problem. So we are kind of like doing all those activities for
control,
them.
yes.
For them to be able to get to an appreciable weight, for them to now take over those activities themselves. And then it also affects their brain. So your babies, the brain development is affected when the baby is exposed to all these tobacco products. And then mommy being, papa being, then all of a sudden your child is not doing too well in school, and you can't get where it's coming from. But your mommy is this and your daddy is this, and it's because of what the smoking that you did.
It's not spirit.
It's not spirit. So, but that's when they'll start running to church, and now
it's the pastors that will suffer. Wow.
So, yes.
So it actually affects the child's brain. They are unable to catch up like even their parents did.
Yes. And even in our young adults who smoke, it also has effects on the nervous system. So their mood, their behavior, their sleep, and also their should I say, brain development. Brain development goes on up to about 25. So if you're smoking in your teens, your brain is still developing. So you're hindering the development that is happening at that time. So when you go to class, concentration, then you see your performance is just going down. You're not able to sleep well. When you're not sleeping well, those are risk factors also for hypertension. So one thing is connecting somewhere and leading to something somewhere. Yes.
Anyways, today is World No Tobacco Day. The theme, once again, unmasking the appeal, exposing industry tactics on tobacco and nicotine products. We still have our guests in studios. Have there been any products that you have approved that have these?
Approved as in made available. There are quite a number of the tobacco product out there that has been registered by the FDA.
Okay, well, that are there, right? And so they have these
the label requirements or the needed labeling requirements should be there. The pictorial health warning, it should be for sale in Ghana only, and then not to be sold to people under the ages of 18. Yes, and then basically that. And then the pictorial health warning should cover a certain percentage of the package. So if you look at cigarettes, I think the back page should have about 60% of the health warning, so that it should be easily seen. So people can really...
Because I'm here, you say, smoke responsibly. They say one puff is dangerous. They say smoke responsibly. I don't know what I have...
But you know the funny thing? When you go to the shops, you never see the cigarettes at the back. They're always in front at the counters.
Yes.
And isn't there something that can be done?
Is that the people can't
To regulate.
I don't know. Like,
No,
put it
I'm
at the
saying-
back of the shop.
I mean, it's total or partial. For me, it's not even partial ban, because if what I have heard, I have not heard it like this before. See, I get to hear it. You find out, oh, it's bad, but you say one puff, just one, destroys a lot. You even exhaust. You see,
Yes.
more like you have internal exhaust pipe in you. I mean, so I'm here thinking, what question else do I have to ask? Because if we're here sensitizing on what exactly, the things are in the country, they are being used. One puff will kill you or will lead to something else. So what are we supposed to sensitize on?
Yes.
When you go, take two, or take one, or half.
So when we are exercising,
You see my difficulty?
if you are not
Yeah.
smoking, don't start it.
Yeah.
Don't. If you are smoking and you want to stop, seek help. Don't resort to the use of the so-called innovative forms, the E6. None of them has been approved to be used as a cessation medicine or drug for staying away from the use of the normal tobacco. If not the patches, not the nicotine gum, none of them. These are all illicit tobacco product out there or illicit product out there. So the best is to seek for medical help.
So let's say I'm addicted to something.
Yes.
And I go to, let's say, therapy, or how do you call the house? The
Anonymous.
rehab?
Yeah.
The rehabs. One of the things they will do is the withdrawal therapy. Is that how you call it? That is a medical term to it. So which means that for a period of time, I'm not supposed to see that. Only for me to come out, and just as you said, it's displayed on the counter.
All there.
You get where I'm coming from. So I'm saying
That's how the
I
relapse
can't imagine that we're having this discussion in 2025. Because if the world can shut on a lot of things, no amount of signing on to any convention must deter us, from banning this.
You know,
you do understand where I'm coming from? And I'm speaking from the
tobacco.
Right?
Okay.
It cannot be advertised. Advertisement on tobacco or tobacco is banned. You cannot advertise.
Don't worry, we don't need advertising. We just walk in there.
It's displayed.
there.
So people like you, that it's an informal way of advertisement, which in a way
It is.
But you
Don't
see,
they
the law.
sponsor-
No, the law bans. You can't sponsor any program. You can't contribute to anything with the tobacco gains. Yeah.
Call it conspiracy theory.
Before, when we were growing, you have to
Right.
see the embassy double do, the sponsor Miss Ghana. But when the law was formulated, then they have to just pack out because the law bans the sponsor.
If not for anything, I'm sure someone somewhere is making tons of money.
Yeah, I just mentioned the
importing
farm
these
for it.
into this country. And it is some people. Well, anyways, I'm just speaking like because I'm sure they agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I also want to think of the frustration of parents,
exactly.
right? Also because
Help them.
we might not, parent might not be able to control all the
No,
way.
they can't. 8 hours in school.
Exactly. And teachers would have little or nothing to do because look at the ratio. Students is to one teacher. I catch the flow. So it's as though we gave green lights to what should be red flags.
I'll tell you an experience. I was my first place of teaching. We noticed that there are some people who were doing a lot of illicit things. And we're talking JHS. JHS, not SHS. We had to trace what were they doing in the washroom, the restrooms. The cigarettes were all over the place.
Wow.
Kids!
And the very scary thing now is that with these new innovations, the E6, some of them will come in a very flashy device, like a pen drive, a pen. So a child may even be having a watch on. It's likely that device may be an electronic form. And that is what
we're in a gadget world.
this campaign is about, to let parents, teachers, and all others know that, yes, the tobacco industry, they are out there. Their aim is to make money.
Yeah.
They don't have any of us at heart. They are not into safeguard the system. Their main aim is to enrich themselves the more because they've realized that a lot more people are moving away from their traditional tobacco.
Yeah.
So how then do they stay in business? So they've come up with the so-called harm reduced, whatever. There's nothing like harm reduced form.
We don't even have social inclusion
Yes.
programs.
Right?
Or, intervention programs where
They have this don't quit switch, trying to promote like, oh, this is less harmful
Exactly, and that is
than
what we're
the
trying to
older types of
But these
tobacco.
are all deception just
It's
to
all deception.
deceive the
And
public.
they're
There is
preying on
nothing-
the
Yeah.
youth with all
Very
these
true.
gadgets and stuff. It's flashy. You know, everybody's now into gadgets.
exactly.
And it's fashionable.
If you see
it's
some of
this.
these devices, some come in like lipstick form, very nice pen drive. So if you see a child with such a device, nothing will click that this child is. So
Well-
They
that's
come
where
in different
parents-
flavors. So
Exactly.
like there's vanilla, there's chocolate, there's
Wow.
candy.
See how
there's-
doctor is saying it is looking nice. Somebody
Oh,
will
okay.
really say, "Oh no, I'm saying that
Just kidding.
anybody
There's
selling
vanilla.
No, anybody selling. Once you love those flavors, you'd readily go to
Exactly.
buy.
There used to be a menthol flavor. So imagine how many people don't take mints.
Mints, yeah.
Chewing gum. Always want to, your breath to smell good. So the menthol one was like a disaster. So that got banned in several countries. You can't do a menthol flavor.
So they banned it.
Yes.
So they banned it.
Not the tobacco itself, but
I'm
that
saying
flavor.
that
So,
the
yeah.
product.
I mean,
so you
it should
can
start from one
gravitate.
product to another.
Can.
But the interesting
Yes, and then
No,
we
it's not.
need
It's the
the
political
ground
will,
financing
dog.
things.
Commitment and
Yeah.
political will. That's all there is. By the way,
And then we need the media as well to help push some of these things through. Because
We
for
have.
us as regulators, we would do our bit. But if we don't get the backing from the public, the media,
What do you
the
need from us?
CSOs,
What you are getting?
Yes, push. Yes, just like you have provided this platform for us to inform or educate the public out there. I think we can do a lot more. And she mentioned the timing. Around this time, we find most of our kids in school, parents at work. So ask yourself, how many people are viewing to even appreciate what we are putting out there? It's quite serious when it comes to tobacco and tobacco use out there, because you may say I don't smoke, but you live in a compound house, a neighbor smokes. What happens?
well,
That
as
is
much
the-
as you look
yeah.
forward to the media helping, the media is also telling the Minister of Health to go into the act, and it's there for you to see 116. The provision is there. You may, and you've got to do it. If it's a big problem, and you've got to do it. You are the Minister of Health. Do it. Nobody will come after you. Nobody, no loan, no grant to stop. Do it. And let's have this, because the dangerous part is the skit makers. I just mentioned to Doc that Nigeria, look at the number, and they are advertising it. That when you smoke, you can flash your system and all of that, and then they'll show it. And how many of people look? If that skit comes from Nigeria to me, and
And these are all industry tactics. So they will use such channels and then try to tell you that, you can smoke. However, you can get yourself or your
Right.
system cleansed after the smoke.
How strong is your social media,
Presence as an
Yes,
FDA. We're almost on all the social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, X. We're almost on all the social media
But have you
handles.
thought of maybe some content of these
We have a
things
lot
that-
of messages out there when it comes to these things.
Because I'm-
We've created a lot more, especially this year in reference to this year's theme, to educate and let the public, and we are doing a lot more. And on Saturday, which is the 31st is the World No Tobacco Day, so the main program would happen in the Volta region. Yes, the launch would be on the Monday, which is on the 2nd.
Okay.
The 31st is a weekend. However,
push it to-
but before then, we have a series of activities happening. So as I speak to you now, we have a lot of our members out there on the field, some in schools, market centers, and other places, educating the public on the need for us to stay away from these products, especially the so-called there's innovative products, the E6, the vapes, which are indicated are illicit in Ghana. They are banned. They are not supposed to be on our markets.
Okay.
And so all those products out there are banned. And if you are caught with any of them, the law would deal with you as stipulated in our regulations. And so aside the public education on Friday, we've also put together a quiz contest for students from selected school in the Volta region. So that will happen on Friday. Okay, to also mark the day and to sensitize the student population on the need for them to stay away from these products. Then Sunday, we will visit churches with our campaign. Then the Monday, the launch will happen. That is at the whole technical university.
I see.
Yes, where we'll have CSOs, WHO, they will all be present to make statements, and the minister will be there to launch the
Oh, Koku, the minister will be there. We'll send the message to.
launch the
Why did you come? Am I the minister's PA?
Yeah. But you're the one who just sent a message to the minister. Is
Minister
that
of
the way- Yes. So it's going to be there. Well, Doc, let me take your last words and then we can file out.
So tobacco has no benefits to the human being. If it only causes harm, it causes damage, cancer, and other common things I didn't mention: kidney disease, diabetes, osteoporosis. It causes a whole lot. Obesity. It's a whole spectrum of. There's nothing good about tobacco. So let's not be deceived with all these new gimmicks and the e-cigs and the vapes, and let's not be deceived with any of these products. They are going to harm us and they are going to affect your future. You'll be looking at cancers. Any part of the body can get cancer. Any part. So let's move away from tobacco and all tobacco products.
Right. So let's move away from tobacco and all tobacco products. Thank you very much, Dr. Yaa-Achah Boateng. Okay, and then you're a physician specialist at the Marriott. It's family physician.
It's a big
okay.
woman.
Oh wow, that's really great. Family physician. Yeah. Koku and I are trying to put up a family, so we'll call you.
Come.
Yeah, right. Koku, would you go? You go. Okay, they say men don't like going to hospital. So I says for only 2 things. I don't want to mention it, but then Miss Jemima Odonko, head of tobacco and tobacco products department at the FDA.
That's another big
Thank you.
woman.
Yes, real big women. So aren't we blessed to have big
Yeah,
women here?
yeah.
But the crux of it is that it depends on you and me to do this, right? We are doing it for ourselves first. So if you are a mother, a father, you have children, let's start educating them about these things now so that they don't become national, statistics that we are looking for that we are not finding. So you want to do it right. Start today. If you're a pastor, start talking about it in church. Start sensitizing the youth. Get to Sunday school. Treat these things, and do it for God and country. My name is Precious Biatola, and
Moi aussi, mon nom est Kokulumo. Au revoir.